All right, let's talk about the metaverse. I know, a lot of people wrote it off as a massive failure. But today, we're going to tell a different story, a comeback story, because a completely different technology is breathing new life into the whole idea. So, yeah, let's get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. The metaverse was supposed to be the future, right? We all heard the hype, but then, poof, it kind of just wasn't. The momentum just completely stalled out. So, what on earth happened? To really get why it's coming back, we first have to understand why it fell apart. So, let's do a quick autopsy on Metaverse 1.0. Turns out the big idea was just miles ahead of the actual tech. You see, the first version hit a few massive interconnected roadblocks. First off, just building these worlds was astronomically expensive and took forever. We're talking months, even years of work. And after all that, what did you get? An experience that often felt kind of clunky, you know? It just wasn't compelling enough to make people stick around. And if you don't have people, you can't build a real functioning economy. It was a vicious cycle. But here's the thing. What looked like a total dead end, it wasn't. It was more like a really, really expensive practice run. In fact, all those failures were basically creating the perfect launchpad for a huge pivot, all thanks to a totally different technology that was blowing up at the exact same time. And that game changer? You guessed it, generative AI. And we're not talking about a small improvement here. AI didn't just tweak the old model, it came in and completely rewrote the rulebook. Okay, so how did AI fix things? Well, it went right after the biggest problems. First, the insane production cost. AI just slashed it. Stuff that used to take teams of people months to build can now be spit out from a simple text prompt in minutes. It's wild. Second, it made the worlds feel, well, real. The characters in these worlds, the NPCs, they can actually talk to you now thanks to large language models. It makes everything so much more immersive. And finally, AI is making it easier to actually use these worlds. We're moving away from clunky controllers and towards just talking to the world around you. And this is the really crucial part. AI completely shifts the focus. Before, creators were totally bogged down in the nitty-gritty technical details. But now, they're free to focus on what actually matters, the big ideas, the cool stories, and making sure the experience is just awesome. So, with these super powerful new AI tools in hand, the whole idea of the metaverse is splitting. It's evolving down two very different but equally fascinating paths, each with its own goal, its own set of rules. Okay, path number one, the digital twin. The easiest way to think about this is like a perfect, living, breathing copy of something in the real world. Imagine a factory, or even an entire city, replicated down to the last bolt. You can feed it real-time data and then just play, run simulations, test out crazy ideas, find the most efficient way to do things, all without breaking anything in the real world. It's all about efficiency. Then you've got the second path, the creative world. And this is basically the polar opposite. The goal here isn't to copy reality, it's to build something entirely new, to escape reality. These are the worlds for games, for hanging out with friends, for learning in ways you never could before. Basically, anywhere your imagination can take you. Physics? Totally optional. And this is where it gets really interesting when you look at how the roles change. In that digital twin world, AI is like your super smart analyst, crunching numbers and predicting the future. The designer's job is to make all that data make sense. But flip over to the creative world, and AI becomes your partner. It's a co-creator, a storyteller. And the designer, they're not just visualizing data anymore. They're the architect of the whole experience. So this split is a huge deal. It doesn't just give us two kinds of metaverses. It completely changes the game for one key person in this whole equation, the designer. I mean, just think about this shift for a second. In the old days, Metaverse 1.0, the designer was stuck in the trenches, just trying to build things. They were completely handcuffed by budgets and deadlines. But now, with AI doing all the heavy lifting, the designer is finally free. They get to step back and be the big picture thinker, the strategic planner. They can focus 100% on making the experience incredible. I love this idea of the designer as an orchestrator. It's perfect. They're not just laying bricks anymore. They're conducting this incredible orchestra of AI tools. They're the ones who take all the cool stuff AI generates and they weave it together into a story, an experience, something that actually means something. It's where tech and pure imagination finally come together. Okay, so what does this all add up to? Where do we go from here? The whole foundation has shifted under our feet. Here's the main takeaway, the one thing to remember. The metaverse is not dead. It was never dead. It was just dormant, waiting for the right tools to come along. And now they're here. With everything we learned from the first time around and the unbelievable power of AI, the story is just getting started. And believe me, this next chapter is going to be way more interesting. And that leaves us with one final thought. The frontier, it's wide open again. Those old walls of cost and time have been knocked down. The tools are in your hands now, more accessible than they have ever been. The future is literally a blank canvas, just waiting for creators and visionaries to come in and build something new. So the only question left to ask is, what will you create?